And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I really like the Magic the Gathering board game, Arena of the Plainswalkers, and my biggest complaint about it was that there wasn't enough stuff for it. It seemed like it took them a really long time to release an expansion. There wasn't a ton of content in that expansion. Well, now they've released a new base game, Shadows over Innistrad, so that basically if you've never played before, you can jump in with this set, and it also adds a ton of new content for the game. Thankfully. Now, if you've never played it before, go check out my original review, because in this one, I'm just going to be talking about this and treating it as if it was an expansion to the original game. So we're going to be taking a look at all the new characters and cards. That's kind of the focus of this. There's a lot of new stuff in here, so let's get into it. The rulebook to the original game was fine, but I really like the new rulebook. I think that it's very clear. It explains all the different things, the new battlefields, the new terrain, how you play. I mean, if you've never played before, this is, again, a good way to get into the game. So I really like that. There's also new terrain tiles. They come with, basically, this is called weirded terrain on one side. This will affect, basically, depending on the scenario. And on the other side, now we got basically whole lakes. And we also have road here. Road is a new terrain that if you start and end your movement in road, you get an extra 3 movement. So that's kind of nice. And then there's more of the terrain tiles. Still not enough really to make me happy, but they have these new pieces here. Now these are cryptoliths, and basically they have these things and they fit into these tiles right here. And I'm actually excited about these because this is kind of like a new terrain that I can use even in HeroScape. These cryptoliths can be scaled by people. They can climb to the top. They can even be attacked. They have a toughness of 4, where you can try to take them out, and 3 life, and their height is 9. So you can't attack somebody next to you adjacent unless they're high enough for you to be able to attack them, maybe standing on a stack of tiles. But if you have ranged attack and you're on top of one of these, that's pretty powerful. And they also have special abilities according to each of the scenarios. There's also 2 new glyphs here. The healing one is one I really like. It's a permanent glyph. As long as you stay on top of this, you're going to heal 1 life point at the beginning of every round. And recall lets you put a spell back in your hand. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There are 4 new Plainswalkers here. Well, newish, because we have Jace again. This is an interesting one for Jace. He's a pretty powerful character. His search for answers, where you can turn over the top card of your opponent's deck, you call it out, and if it is, you can use it, and then put it back, and they can use it then, or if not, you just put it on the bottom of their deck. Isn't that powerful, especially since how are you supposed to know what's in your opponent's deck, especially if you're playing with constructed decks? However, at the same time, the fact that he can have up to 25 points worth more of spell cards, that I find more interesting. Then, of course, we have a vampire. I say of course because it seems like every kind of game has somebody who's a vampire. And so this guy basically, when he hits somebody, and he has 5 attack dice, which is pretty powerful, and destroys them, he can heal 2 life, which is cool, and he can attack everybody who's next to him. And we have, by the way, you'll notice that while Jace was blue, Sorin here was black-white, and then this Arlen here is red-green. These are dual-colored Plainswalkers, which means you can use 2 different colors, which you would think would mean their special abilities are dampened, but they're not. I mean, really, if I have my choice, in this game, having a dual Plainswalker seems to be more potent than, let's say, playing a dual deck in Magic. But anyway, if at the end of her turn, if a creature was destroyed, you can do 1 damage to a figure within 7 clear sights of her, and then she can change into a werewolf. You flip her over. Now you'll notice she has a range of 7, and then on the other side, when she turns into the werewolf, she has a range of 1, but her attack is much better, and you can put a +1 counter on a squad if she's near them. I really like that. And she can change back and forth from the werewolf. She's my favorite Plainswalker, period. I really like a red-green are 2 colors I like anyway. And the fact that she can change back and forth to werewolf, that's always been one of my favorite abilities. And then finally, the 4th Plainswalker, which is a white-red Plainswalker, has a movement of 4, range of 4, health of 4. But basically, she's +1 when she's higher than you, which is useful. And she can pass through stone or pass through somebody else. So it's kind of weird. This would make more sense if you were playing her with Heroescape terrain, because there's more things that she could pass through walls and stuff. There's a small chance she'll take damage, but she can pass through other creatures, giving them damage. So that works here. And at the beginning of the game, you can put 2 tiles on her card, and after moving, you can put one of those on a spot that she occupies, so make her higher than someone else. So it's kind of like she comes and rises up. Pretty cool, but the werewolf is still my favorite of the Planeswalkers. All right, let's take a look at the different creatures, which unfortunately are still all unique. I don't know why they make the creatures in these sets unique. If they were common creatures, we'd buy more sets, but anyhow. So we have the ghosts here. They can flicker. You can pull them off the board, put them back on the board before. When you summon them, you can look at the top card of your opponent's library. Okay, so here's the deal. You need to use these with Jace, so you could use that one-time special ability. You pull that card off, you look at it, then his ability becomes much more useful. So he's almost kind of required to take these guys. Then we have the Skiersdag Cultists. Basically, you can do a damage to a cleric creature that you control. If you do, they get +1, so you want to play these guys with some clerics if possible, or, well, they are clerics, so you can take 1 damage there too. It's even funnier if you take another group of clerics, I would think. Then we have the Bloodline Nobles. When they're attacking, if the attack of the person that they're attacking is less, they're +1. Now, that's not going to happen too often. There's not too many people with fewer attack than 3, but still, these guys aren't super expensive. These Inquisitors, I like these guys here. When you summon them, you can put a +1 counter on someone else that you control, so yay for that. And they get +1 when attacking a non-human creature, and there are a lot of non-human creatures. But my favorite of the squads are these 2 guys. They're Rangers. They have a 3 attack, they have a 5 range, and when you attack with them, if they are shooting, if they're hitting someone far away, one of them can shoot twice. That's great. I would like them just for that. But even better, they can transform into werewolves. And as I've already pointed out, that's something I like a lot. These guys are fast and get a chance to attack. All right, for the heroes, we have the Mad Prophet, who can come out and immediately attack. And he gets +2 when attacking a creature or planeswalker. So you have to be careful. If this guy's in your opponent's army, if they move up close enough, and they might be able to summon him and get him out there and attack, it's pretty dangerous. Here we have another angel, somebody who can fly. And then apparently they're crazy because they do 1 damage to everyone that they don't control next to them, kind of like an aura. This guy is probably my favorite of the heroes, the Ghoul Vanguard, because if he kills another creature, if he's next to a creature that's killed, he can bring them back as a zombie. So that's a lot of fun, and he can move and attack with zombies next to him. And then the Necro Alchemist here, who has kind of a pretty cool gun wand or something. You can add charge counters to him. So as you're adding these charge counters on top of him, you can remove them to get +2 attack. So he essentially has a 5 attack with a 5 range. That's a pretty neat thing. So these are the different creatures that are found in this set. So now we're looking at the different cards. Now this one has a different number of cards. For example, there are more white and blue cards in this deck than there are green ones. But this is going to open up the deck building thing quite a bit. And so I'm not going to go over all these in detail, but there's a lot of really cool cards here. Here you can remove 3 damage from a friendly creature, but you can play this only at the start of a turn of a hero creature you control. But still, that's a nice way. I like healing. Or here, this one's interesting. Destroy a target creature that's adjacent to at least 3 friendly creatures. So if they have a big guy that you have a hard time taking down, that Silver Strike is a chance to take them out. Here's Enchant Plainswalker. They get +2 when they have 4 more damage markers on it. So there's a chance to, your Plainswalker's about to die. They have a chance to come out and attack. Here's a hidden enchantment where you can flip it up when the creature is attacked. At the start of your turn, you must destroy it. If you do, you can remove 2 damage markers from the enchanted creature. This one I like even more. The Chaplain's Blessing. Take 2 damage markers from a friendly hero creature and put a +1 counter on it. Or you just take someone out. You can pick a squad and their base attack is 0 and their defense is 1. So a good way to take them out. And this one here, which is the most expensive white card in this set, and that's destroy all non-white squad creatures adjacent to a white planeswalker you control. Boom, they're all gone, and that's a pretty powerful white spell. Moving on to the blue spells, if you have a lot of cards in your hand, you get +1 defense. Here you can give someone +2 move and flying, which is pretty handy. This has Spell Flicker. When a creature in the enchanted squads return to its owner's reserve, return this card back to your hand, so you can enchant a squad and do that. A squad creature you control is unblockable until the end of the turn. They don't roll dice as defense. This ghost form can be extremely powerful, and you'll find that many of the blue cards are really powerful. Here you can move a friendly creature within 6 space of a blue planeswalker you control. That creature doesn't take any leaving engagement attacks. Basically, you can say, come back, you'll be safe. And then here's another card that helps out Jace again. Plays Jace's Scrutiny only on the turn of a blue planeswalker you control. So Jace, this is a card, I guess it's made for Jace. Draw cards to do the same number of cards in hand as target opponent. And since some of your stuff will do better the more cards you have in hand, that's a very powerful thing. Put a spell card from your graveyard back in your library. This is an expensive one, costing 40. But this one's also expensive. Choose 2 creatures and a squad within 4 spaces of a blue planeswalker. You can move and attack with those creatures. Love this. Love being able to take over somebody else. Now we go to black. Here, black can get rid of their whole hand and draw 3 cards. I don't know if I especially like that one. Or given a hero +3 move, at the end of your turn, take 1 damage to it. I've never really been a big fan of, hurt myself to do more stuff to somebody else. But here you can enchant a squad. They have to discard a card or do 1 damage to that squad. That one I do like. On to red. You can do 2 damage to a red planeswalker you control, 1 damage each other planeswalker within 4 clear sight spaces of it. Is that worth it? It's only 5. I don't know. Again, I don't like hurting myself to hurt the opponent. Choose a squad creature you control. Blanks you roll an attack dice for that creature this turn count as hits. That one I do like, especially if you're rolling a lot of dice for different people. Here you can do 2 damage to a target creature that's with between 7 or 9 clear spaces away from a planeswalker you control. So this is called dual shot. I think of it more like a fireball that you can shoot. Here you can re-roll attack dice, which is helpful. Here, if a creature is destroyed, you can discard 2 cards to do 1 damage to each creature within 3 spaces from a red planeswalker you control. So I guess if you kills one, and then you explode. And so none of the red cards are very powerful or expensive, but again, that kind of works out. I mean, these 20s are pretty powerful, like this Infernal Plunge. Do X damage to a target creature within 6 spaces, where X is equal to remaining life of a small or medium squad creature you control that's next to your planeswalker. Then destroy that squad creature. You're throwing a squad creature as a bomb, maybe? I don't know. And then finally, there's some green spells here. Each creature has no damage, can move up to 2 spaces at the end of their turn, so that's pretty handy. And here you can remove 2 damage markers from among the creatures in a squad you control, but then you destroy and destroy all enchantments. So your opponent plays a nasty enchantment. I like this more than the healing part of it. And do X damage to a target creature, where X is the number of creatures would transform adjacent to that creature. X can't be greater than 4. So this one here is a werewolf style thing because you have those people with transform. Transform being one of my favorite abilities. The most important thing about these cards is the fact that you now have an immense amount, if you have this set and the first set and the expansion, immense amount of different things you can do deck building wise. So that's pretty much it for this expansion. This really finally, now I feel like we really have deck building abilities. There's so many, especially in the cards, right? There's so many different things you can build now. There's still, only so many squads that you can pick for your summoner, but you now have a lot of summoners to pick from. The dual summoners allow you even more variety. There's, I think, there was 2 squads, 4 or 5, so you have like 5 different squads to pick from now if you have everything for your thing. That's still not a ton, maybe, but it does. I mean, now let's say you're playing somebody, you can feel like not only are you not sure which different creatures they're going to be bringing with them, but their deck. There's no way you really are going to be able to know what's in that deck of cards. And I think that's an important thing. That's one of the things I really wanted to see with this game, was for that deck building ability to open up. If you've never played before, this is certainly a good set to start with. I think it's better than the first set. It feels like there's more content. There's not that much more content, but it feels... I like the new terrain pieces they added. We're still missing that really awesome Heroscape terrain. I seriously think they're sitting on probably a million of these sand tiles, and so they're going to keep printing them. But maybe someday we'll get a terrain pack for this game, especially with one of the Plainswalkers in this set specifically being useful with terrain. Unless, of course, you have the terrain like I do. But either way, this is a very solid game. My fears about expansions and stuff are now being alleviated. I still would like to see a little bit more, but I think that this game now finally is on footing where it can be played, and I'm going to hang on to it because I was starting to waver. I was saying they need more stuff for me to want to keep playing this, but there's enough in here now that the variety is great enough. So, hooray! I'm really glad. That's Arena of the Plainswalkers, Shadows over Innistrad. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!